Hey everybody, how's it going? So if you go in your browser and go over to rossmangroup.com/news-store-hunt, you will be able to follow our search for a new store. So we're going to be going over the 30th Street store yet again today that Alan suggested I reach out to the leasing and management agent on. So there are a couple of things that I want to go through before we even go over the quote that I got from one of the contractors is what I was told by the electrician. So it appears that when it comes to the electrical work in this facility, so firstly, they said that there was about 600 amps available to my place. It looks like there's a 100 amp single phase meter fused at 60 amps, single phase. There's a third phase wire coming into an existing panel upstairs making 3 ways, but we don't know where the third phase comes from or where it's fused or if it's coming directly from Con Ed or coming from someone else's power. My electrician thinks that there's a good chance that the third phase that's not being used comes from someone else in the building. That's interesting. Now, the other store next to us has been upgraded to 200 amps, 3 phase. So what he thinks is that when the super said 600 amps available to you, he actually just saw 200, 3 phase, and just did 200 times 3, and that's not exactly how that works. So since there's quite a bit of excavating to be done and also a lot of questionable electrical wiring to redo, he's estimating that that would be about $8,000 or $10,000 of a job. This is an electrician that I've known for about 10 years. My old friend and boss at the studio I used to work at 12 years ago also recommends him. So I'm imagining that that $8,000 to $10,000 is the homie price, and that if I were to go to another electrician, that would easily double. So let's just go over what the electrical panel upstairs look like here. Are you ready? Are you ready? Ah! Painful. That is the electrical panel upstairs. Oh. Oh. This looks like the shit on my... This looks worse than what I put on my bike. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that beautiful wiring. Look at that. Ah. Anyway, so before we get into that is going to be a... Yeah. So, next up, let's go over a quote. This does not include electrical from here. So this is a quote that I got from one of the real contractors. As you know, we had a contractor showed up that said it would be about $150,000 to do the front room and the storefront by itself.
I might be able to I can get the front of the store done for $150. Once you come back
Front
here.
only? I mean, that's kind of on the pricey side.
Without dealing with the middle room, the back room, the hallways, any demolition or anything like that, just $150,000. It was interesting because when he was giving his quote and we asked, what is that? He goes, well, I can't itemize or break it down for you because you would have to pay for that because that's part of the service that you would be paying for. Now, if you pay me to give you a proposal, then I can do it. But when we said, okay, just like off the top of your head, you can have large general things globbed into one piece. He added up a bunch of stuff that comes out to about 75 or 80K.
You're not going to get you are not going to get it lower than that.
So I'm not sure. Did Louis fill you in? So
No.
we're getting quote from the contractors, which is the only fair thing to do, right? We want to get an idea of pricing. But you're saying 150K for this front alone, and you can't break it down any more than that. So
the storefront will cost approximately $15,000.
okay.
Sheetrocking the walls, and doing the ceiling work, removing the acoustical tile, painting, so on and so forth, is about $20,000. The compound paint and so on and so forth is about $20,000. The floor is about $10,000. Okay. The desk, the way you're adding to it, it's about $15,000. Blocking off the store, about we got $1,500, $2,000 for that. Moldings, touch-ups, holing, right? Another $20,000. Punch list, $10,000. Right, and then back here, simple sheetrock. Yeah, I'm still under, but I haven't put property insurance and overhead.
No. Anyway, so we're going to be going over this one next. So this is Rossman Group, 124 West 30th Street, October 16, 2019. This is a pretty quick proposal because we spoke to the guy yesterday. This is a different contractor. This is not the guy that I did in the video yesterday. What we have here, general requirements. So we have RAM board, plastic protection, green dust for dust mitigation during build-out, temporary utilities, assuming all utility sources are available. Temporary requirements, 2-4 work at ceilings higher areas. That is $9,250. Demolition of ceiling at the front. miscellaneous demolition to prep space, removal of wall at front, removal of rooms on both sides of ramp, demolition of ramp, and carting for large demolition debris, $6,950. So remember that there were two rooms right by the bathroom. There was the one to the left and the one to the right. These are small rooms that I don't need, and there's also a ramp leading up to the back area. So we would like to build stairs there and get rid of the ramp and get rid of those two rooms. $6,950 to demolish. This is $64,450. This seems like what is going to be the bulk of it. It says frame, sheetrock, and tape walls at perimeter walls. Frame, sheetrock, and tape wall at front. Build new ramp, build new stairs, minor patching of areas due to demolition of any walls during build-out, installation of miscellaneous owner-supplied accessories, framing and blocking for storefront, and install owner-supplied soundproofing tiles. So one of the things that I was discussing in getting this space, so remember these were the acoustic tiles for this drop ceiling in the front. I wanted to get something like that, and I was going to get this for the office and also for the front of the store. So this is what I was going for. Let's get the chat window out of the way. So I wanted to get this in my office in the back, and good looking acoustic panels, not the, junk I've got right now, and also this for the front of the store. So the whole front of the store would be this and this, because I want, when you're having a conversation with a customer, I don't like it when I can clearly hear a bunch of early reflections, especially if there's 3 or 4 conversations are going on. Kind of grates in my nerves. But let's just dig in a little bit more to that. So $64,450 for frame, sheetrock, tape walls, sheetrocking at front wall at front. There's the existing wall that is going to get moved. So that first wall, when you're looking at the space, that we had planned to move because we don't need the front to be as big. We need a larger technician area, not a larger customer area. Over here, framing and blocking for storefront, install owner-supplied soundproofing tiles, etc. Doors, frames, and hardware. Supply and install of standard wood doors with standard hardware, $1,500. That seems fair. Over here, we have the storefront. Now, the thing is, I was expecting the storefront to be in the $15,000 to $16,000 range. Here, it says $22,460. Which is not, again, it's like 30% higher than I thought, because my current storefront was about $6,700 to do. I figured this storefront is 2.5 times as wide. I'm going to add 2.5 times to the price. I wasn't expecting it to be 3.5 times the price of my existing storefront, given that it's about 2.5 times the size. But this over here, where it says framing and blocking for storefront, so this is already in the carpentry quote for $64,000. In addition to being in the $22,460 for the storefront. Now, mechanical, client to supply and install. I don't know what that means for mechanical. What do you mean mechanical? Plumbing. Replace vanity sink and faucet. Replace toilet. Supply of standard plumbing fixtures, $2,000. No big deal. Electrical. Client to supply and install. I was bringing my own electrician, somebody that I know, somebody that I trust, because we are dealing with, a building that's going to need a little bit of... it's old, and again, as I said, the wiring in the building looks like this, so I'd really like somebody that I've known for a while to go through this, that I trust, and luckily I do have an electrician that I know and trust very well to go through all of this for me. And it says supply VCT throughout first 2 rooms. Laminate VCT to existing floor with minor patching. Supply carpet tile in last room. Install carpet tile in last room with minor patching. So he's going to supply and install standard vinyl base throughout. Spray ceiling throughout. Prime all walls throughout. Paint all exposed sheetrock walls throughout. 2 coats, $30,000. Okay. And that brings us to $136,000. $735. Now here it says $26,430 for pre-construction requirements. Staff for site build-out, laborers to assist with site cleanliness and deliveries, general carting and trash removal for construction, and transportation. Next up is liability insurance, $2 million, disability, and workman's comp at $8,204. Reasonable. Overhead and fee. Overhead and fee is $16,408. This is the area where I imagine there's going to be the most negotiating. Like, is $64,000 for carpentry not your fee? I'm guessing that this is going to be maybe architectural over here, because he doesn't list architectural or design services or filing or anything throughout this whole thing. And this company appears to be one of those full-service companies that's also going to do your interior design and, where should things be? How should the internal layout be? What color should this be? What type of desk should go here? What type of fixture should go here? What type of light should go here? All of that kind of design stuff that I don't know how to do. I'm guessing that they're putting into rolling into that 16,000. That comes out to a total of $187,777. And then there's my back office that Steve was saying, oh yeah, we don't have to worry about the back office. That's going to come back to him. We're going to say the same thing about that old clean room data recovery space that we're going to be putting in the basement. But this was an alt, and it is not an alt. I want my office to be an office. It says provide sheetrock ceiling frame, sheetrock tape, prime, and paint back room, $8,430, because the ceiling of that room looks like something, a trap out of the movie Cube. Now, there's some notes here. Proposal includes work as dictated by Rossman, includes Blueberry General Insurance and Contractors, blah, blah. All work proposed non-union, typical building hours. I'm sure there'll be a lovely protest outside of the store about the fact that I'm not paying $600,000 to renovate a space. Proposal is valid 10 days from issue. Proposal does not account for phasing or remobilization of trades. All right. Now, next up here. Assumptions. Schedule impact due to any permit restriction delays due to landlord is not accounted for. Fair. Schedule impact due delays of owner-supplied materials is not responsibility of the contractor. Fair. Project-specific insurance and additional insurance household Blueberry Builders standard insurance is not required. Fair. Stop pages or delays by the building management or owner or Department of Buildings will extend the construction timeline and general conditions. Fair. Third-party work with the building is not in general contract. Any unforeseen or undocumented pre-existing site conditions after demolition work will be assessed and is not included in the proposal. You haven't heard of the ACA? Come on, cover my pre-existing conditions. Third-party inspections is the owner's responsibility if required. Asbestos testing in a basement is not required. Department of Buildings permits not required. I think a permit may be required for some of that, but we'll see. Construction timeline of 5 weeks. Any extension of schedule will include general requirements. All furnishings, decoration, or equipment is by owner. BOB fielding is not required. Okay, you mentioned that twice now. You put that in there twice, so that's worrisome to me. But again, we may be able to. Like, I'll trust them if they say you can do it without a permit. I just kind of wonder if you can. Owner supplied deliveries for furnishings or equipment must be brought and delivered into job site by owner. New mechanical is not required. All utility bills during build-out are by owner. Low voltage is by owner's fire alarm, television, audio, security. All service connections and are existing and adequate for required scope. No demolition of CMU or masonry walls. Fire stopping only for new general contractor penetrations. All material to fit through access points to building. Stripping of any old paint is not required. No materials to be salvaged. No leveling of okay, this part over here. So, as you know, my floor is such that in many of the it's actually somewhat uncomfortable because at certain areas of the desk, I can't when I'm sitting at this table. It's slanted, so I'm not leaning towards my desk. When I'm bending over, when I'm upright, I'm actually kind of like this because the floor is not level, and I'm not spending $250K to move here to have a floor that's not level. That's okay. We got to work on that a little bit. Next up here, all subfloor assumed to be in reusable condition. That seems like a bit of a hefty assumption. Fire-rated demising wall provided by landlord, not included in perimeter wall. Okay, so this is the primary one here that worries me, actually. No leveling of floors. Okay, 50% of approval, proposal, and signing to lock in construction crew dates. That's fair. Again, you want 50% of your money when you approve the proposal so that, if you do all the work, you don't get backed out. That's fair. So now I'm at a point where I can start reading your comments. So let's go ahead and check out what it is you all have to say. Build stairs. Yeah, 4 days to build stairs. Okay. There was this one article from, I remember reading something in Canada, where the city wanted $50,000 to $150,000 to put stairs in a park, and this one guy did it himself with like $500 and stuff from Home Depot. Or, well, I guess what the Canadian equivalent of Home Depot would be. Overhead is bullshit, says JP. I think what they mean is architectural fee, because I think anybody's going to want an architectural fee in there. If the overhead and fee includes all unexpected costs, it's not worth bartering over to shake on it. Yeah, but the assumptions says the opposite of that. We'd be adding RGB lights in the storefront like your current space. I'd like to. I would definitely like to. Since you're a small business, you can probably get away with non-union, but YouTube may change that since you're an influencer. Like, I'm not a millionaire. Once I'm a millionaire, that's the thing. I care about the working conditions of the people that I work with. I want you to get days off. If you're sick, I want you to take days off. I don't want you working 12 hours a day. I want you to hydrate yourself during the day. And I want you to get paid a fair wage for the work you do. I really do. It's just, I cannot afford a $400,000 to $600,000 renovation. I can't. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I want to do things properly. I really do. I just can't afford $500,000 renovation. It's not something that's in my budget. And in New York City, it's what people ask for. No leveling of floors is outrageous. I agree. Again, if I won't, here's the thing. I could entertain not lowballing you for. It's not 187,000 because of the other 8,000 on top. I could consider not lowballing you for $196,000. I could. It's just if you're saying you're not going to level the floor, no, you got to cross that out. You're for 195,000 bucks, you're leveling the floor. There's no ifs, ands, or buts there. Are you going to live stream the inflatable rat in front of the new store when the protests happen? Inflatable rat. I don't know what to say. Again, if you're Chase Bank, I think they get it, but like it's a corner repair shop. Like your budgeting is more transparent than U.S. officials. I put it all out there. I try. Thank you. If you are a union carpenter, a union design build company, like Lewis at RossmanGroup.com. Again, my email. I make my email public. If you email me, let me know if you're able to do the work that I need. If you think you can renovate this store at a price that is reasonable to a dude who, pays his employees fair, is not a millionaire. If you are a union builder in New York City and you think that I'm misjudging the situation and you think that this can indeed be done union at a price that would allow me to be able to do it as a dude that doesn't have outside investment, that's essentially, putting his life savings into moving kind of thing, for a small store that looks like this, then by all means, let me know. Again, this is what I can afford. This is where I am right now. Look at that. That's my ceiling. That's my ceiling. Like, before you get a rat outside there or anything. It is what it is. But if you are somebody who thinks you can make that happen, let me know. But if it's going to be something where renovating a store costs $300,000 to $500,000, then it's just it's out of the question. It's just not doable. It's either I hire somebody and I pay them what they believe and I believe to be fair, or I just don't do it at all, and then nobody gets paid. And I think that there should be a way for this to be done in a manner where it is affordable. We're not building a building. We're renovating a store for a small business. But we'll see. The trade union here can be a pain by not letting you get work at non-union job if looking for work, say, in plumbing. I like how he's got a line item for insurance like he's doing major construction, not just putting up drywall and painting and flooring. How can you run 2 stores with no heat in one? Well, we're actually getting that fixed. So in the last a few videos, so I've emailed Hub many times about paying at my expense to have some sort of mini split system installed, which I would pay for, to be clear, and they ignored me for 3 months. And I emailed, ignored, called, ignored, and then I did a video where I talked about that and called them a piece of shit slumlord. And then a day later, people were showing up talking about installing heaters in my store. Well, imagine that. So we will be having heat in this store shortly. He actually came by today and said, we use the solution for our rent-controlled tenants. She actually said it's not a permanent solution, but it's like temporary. It's kind of like a temporary permanent solution. My mind is just fucking exploding listening to this. Like, what the fuck is a temporary permanent solution? What does that fucking mean? She walked to the back of the store looking for the basement, and she walked into the bathroom thinking that was the basement and missed the door in front of the store and just... You're going to put in heat for free. Just do it. Oh, well. But I guess being an influencer gets you heat in the winter. I'll give it that much. Being an influencer means that when it's winter time, your store will not be 7 degrees when your lease says in it that there will be heat provided by the landlord. You get that much. But anything else, no. Construction for exposure, says Robin Duckett. See, that would be cool, but that's... Yeah, that's no. What's the difference between union and non-union? I imagine that union contractors collectively bargain for specific conditions to be met. And in New York City, to my knowledge, when you mention union contractors, you're thinking of your Chase, your Starbucks, your Whole Foods, your Dwayne Reeds, your chains. Small businesses are scared of union because union contractor typically means it's going to cost an insane amount of money that is outside the amount of money that you can make if you are a pizzeria, a taco place, a small-time repair shop. You're really thinking of Whole Foods and Trader Joe's when you're thinking of union contractors, because it's going to cost you to my knowledge, from what I've been told from the people I've interfaced with, it's going to add anywhere from 50 to 100% onto the cost of the job. And this is the kind of thing where I'm looking at these and I'm just kind of wondering, how the fuck am I going to pay for this to begin with? You know, this is one of those, try and take out a loan or a line of credit, see if a bank will give you a loan or a line of credit. I already have gone for a loan at one financial institution. They kind of laughed it off. We're going to try a line of credit next, see how that goes. You can also go through the SBA process, but that is a very long-winded, slow process by the time I get done with that, if I even... In addition to the fact that the fee structure is somewhat higher, it's also the fact that like my lease will probably be over here by the time I'm done with that. Why are they charging you 5 weeks of disability and workman's comp? Shouldn't they pay that out of their profit themselves? You know what? That's a good question. That's a great question, because I don't put that as a line item on board repair. It's like, you know, 200 or 300 or 400. I pay for my, I pay workman's compensation insurance. I have liability insurance for the building that I'm in, and that is something that is rolled into my price. I don't really list that as a sub item. Good point. That is a good point there. Why don't you buy the doctor's office? Why don't I buy a $1.7 million condo? Paul decided to go on vacation for the renovations. He chose perfect timing to go on his third vacation of the year. Paul is going to be... Paul has decided, based on my work, my hanging work here and everything, that I am pretty good at hanging things. I'm probably pretty good at construction as well. And he has deferred to my expertise when it comes to being a construction foreman. When he comes back, there'll be a store. I'll design his office. I'll design his desk. It's going to be great. And now to Steve to give his opinion on the contractor quote. Steve's over there in that room. I just brought the mic over since he didn't come over here.
I mean, so right off the bat, I don't think that this was a terrible quote. Could have been much higher because, again, this is New York City. One thing that I did notice that was, I think, a bit too high was the carpentry. This thing was 450, so a bit too high for what's listed there anyway. I don't know, but you guys might have a different opinion. Let me just load up the video because I'm not even...
Can you get a video called Steve Haggles with Salespeople?
What?
Can we get a video series called Steve Haggles with Salespeople? Yeah, people really like that from the last one.
Thank you. Let's see.
That's the guy who sent in the drone.
It's empty. Yes, the chair is empty. I am here somewhere.
Steve is not able to get up and go to the other room.
Yeah,
he decided to copy an L and get run over by a truck.
I'm copying and pasting my voice to Lewis's chair. So, yeah, the carpentry, that was one thing that I had an issue with. I think I can, reasonably ask him to bring that down. There were a couple of other annoying ones too, like the finishes. That total was $30,125, so $30,125. I think that's a bit too high on the higher end. But overall, I don't really think that this quote in general is absurdly high. I think for New York City, it's sort of like in between. It's not the lowest you'd get, and it's not the highest, because you guys have seen yesterday the highest that we've got, and the guy wanted 150K just for the front, which was what, 500, 600 square feet. That was a joke. Yeah,
that was
that was the biggest joke of the night, and I had to maintain, I guess, the professionalism. You can't just tell the guy to F off. I don't think that's...
it's tempting.
It is, though. I don't think that's warranted, but...
It's tempting.
Again, he was, for the most part, respectful. But, could we have told him, to, beat it? Yes. But we'd like to keep it on, on good terms with him. So, yeah, I mean, overall, though, this quote is on the higher end, I think, but it's not, absurdly, out of this world. What were your thoughts? I don't know what you went over with them.
So those are the two
main
leveling
things
the floor. No leveling the floor at $195,000 bucks.
That floor was not that. It wasn't like Tony Hawk, It was. I think it was pretty level, but Lewis is the type of guy that's going to take a leveler and put it on the floor.
At $196,000, yes, I
Fair
will.
enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. So I think that needs to be changed too.
Also, what is you have to pay for his workman's comp and everything else? Like, I get paying the liability insurance for that specific site, but shouldn't that be part of your profit?
that should. You're right. And there was one more thing here. Hold on. So the general conditions that came out to 26,430, but I mean this is like this is as vague as it gets. Pre-construction requirements 1 week, and then it just says that, and then the price is 26,430. I don't really know what this entails at all. Insurance and overhead and fee, fine, whatever. But this 26,000, this 30,000, and this 64 or 65,000 in this case, I think those all need to be slashed. Car salesmen, how they have a price, and then you slash it,
Yeah.
and then you get you get to the real price. I think this needs to be done that way. But
Steve versus salesman?
the guy was very nice in general, so I can't say anything about him.
Yeah, he was
But-
much better than the first.
Yeah, oh yeah, like hands down, much better.
What about the guy that showed up in the suit? I'm excited to get the quote from the guy that showed up in a suit.
So that guy showed
tie,
up in a suit. He showed up with a suitcase, a briefcase.
a briefcase, like a $1,000 suit and
Yes.
$200 shoes.
So he showed up in a suit and a briefcase. So I mean, Lewis is paying for that right off the bat. So he
seemed very
claims that
experienced.
he was in a meeting, but
He said he was in a meeting
In
with
an
important
important
people.
meeting,
No,
yeah.
an important
Yeah,
a meeting with an important company.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we? Because I joked and I said I feel
Yeah.
underdressed.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know what does chat think in general of this.
Let's see what
quote?
they said.
Let's see. Well, one of them says, "What the f? Do it yourself using your fam, a
What
few
fam?
mates, your employees. It could be done for a few. 1K,
I don't have fam.
maybe
I don't
10K
have
max.
I don't have mates and employees or.
No.
Actually, yeah, Steve. I think having Steve and Olga do the construction would be a perfect idea.
Yeah. One of them says 30 grand just to paint is completely absurd. I agree, but remember New York City pricing, so it wasn't 150 grand just to, fix the front. 550 square feet.
Demolish and paint yourself.
JP says totally agree. 2,500 square feet should be like 10K. Not for New York City. Anywhere else, yes, and that's probably on the higher end, to be honest with you. For 90K plus, you can build a house anywhere else outside the the states.
It makes me
so.
sick thinking about.
Let's see.
Are they going to be union contractors?
Dan the
It
plumber
said-
says, Lewis, don't use that company. That's you got 500.
If all of your viewers send you $5, I would be a $5 millionaire. Actually, yes, I would have $5 million.
yes,
I could spend 1.7 million buying a building, 1 million renovating it, 3 million on yacht, and 0 on Steve, Dan, and Orhan. Yes. I mean, no, I said that out loud.
So did I delete all of these?
All right.
yeah.
That about concludes our thoughts. My alarm is ringing, which means it's time for me to get going. So I will see you all later.